Welcome back to day 2 of our adventure, exploring the incredible trails British Columbia has to offer. Today, we're aiming for the summit, heading straight up to an old fire lookout with some absolutely epic views. Well, today's trail might be smoother. Don't be fooled, it's still packed with loose rocks, tight switchbacks, and hairpin turns as we climb higher and higher. Eventually, breaking into the subalpine and reaching the peak of the mountain. But just how breathtaking are these views? And how challenging is the journey to get there? Well, you're going to have to watch to find out.
What is up, and welcome back to another video here in the British Columbia backcountry. Today we're actually doing something a little bit different. As you saw in last episode, the mountain won and we were unable to make it top. So we're gonna take a win today and we're gonna do what's called Buchanan Lookout. It's a kind of a pretty easy kind of lookout trail, pretty accessible with regards to vehicles. They even say you could probably take a high clearance two-wheel drive vehicle on here. So it's not gonna be a challenge for us today. We're just gonna have fun in the Subarus and explore it. If you're new here and you haven't seen my last video, which I recommend you go check out, today we're with Geoff in his lifted Subaru Crosstrek and my Subaru Forester. So let's go ahead and start making our way up the mountain to the lookout.
As we begin our ascent towards the lookout, we knew this was going to be a much easier ride compared to yesterday's failed attempt. And while it wasn't a smooth gravel road by any means, it also wasn't a washed out narrow trail that we had faced before. However, today we had a different challenge: oncoming traffic. Being closer to civilization and on a much more accessible trail, encountering other vehicles was inevitable. Even with radio communication, it was tough to pinpoint exactly where people were until they were practically right in front of us. Regardless, we pushed forwards, winding up the mountainside, determined to reach the top.
There's definitely some narrower sections of trail.
Going back and forth, we quickly navigated the tight turns and switchbacks with ease. Each turn brought us something new, whether it was a rough patch of trail or a breathtaking view. But one thing was for sure, this was an incredible drive. From the towering mountains in the distance to the sprawling valleys below, there was always something spectacular to look at, and it was only getting better with every turn.
And while this isn't really a hard trail, it is still a beautiful trail up a mountain in BC. You can find these all over the BC. They're kind of the BC logging roads, as you guys have seen in some of my adventures. Some of them are a little more interesting than others, and this one, because it's a pretty popular lookout location, and kind of the reason we found it in the first place, it is actually very well maintained. You can theoretically do it in two-wheel drive, or you could do it with a stock Subaru. You just have to be careful to not hit the oil pan, but it's still a great drive. We're getting close, but we haven't hit the alpine yet. I can kind of see some of the trees changing in front of us. We've gained about 500 meters of elevation, so it's about the same as what we were doing yesterday. It was just this trail is a lot easier than what we were doing yesterday, and I think we'll top out right around 2,000 again, so we'll get that really epic mountain view.
As we neared the subalpine, the trees began to thin, signaling that we were getting closer to the summit. And with one final turn, we found ourselves on a narrow, single-vehicle trail that led us straight into the subalpine.
Those views just get better and better.
Here, the towering trees gave way to low brush and the trail became more rugged. Large rocks scattered across our path and standing water pooled in various spots. We navigated over the rocks, pushing onwards towards the final ascent that would take us to the old fire lookout. The summit was finally within reach.
And well, as you can see, the trees have changed, and theoretically, around this corner, there should be a lookout and an epic view.
On top of the mountain, we wound our way through the sparse trees, circling the base of the old lookout tower and taking in the breathtaking panoramic views. And just with one final turn, we reached the end of the trail, the true summit of the mountain. And today, we can confidently say we made it to the top.
And well, check that out. Look at that amazing view. We technically didn't even break Alpine, we're still subalpine, but we've got this amazing 360-degree view of, well, that is Crete Lake. We can see Lavena, the trail that burnt down, and then we have some of the big mountains for climbing and stuff, and then all the way down there we can see where we kind of came from. It is one amazing place to explore. And then, if you look behind us, this is a new lookout. A lot of the lookouts of BC look like this, and a lot of them are actually deactivated, so you're able to kind of just check it out and not disturb anyone actually doing fire watch, because there are some that do have that, but a lot of them now are just amazing viewpoints like this. So we're gonna go ahead. It's, as you can tell, very windy up here, but it's pretty warm, so we're gonna enjoy the view a little bit. And then what we're gonna go do is we're going to make our way back down the mountain, because especially in these fall times, we lose sunlight very quickly. So we got to be conscious of that and making sure that we're going to make it down before dark. It's possible we could do it in the dark, but it's safer not to. So let's go ahead, check out the views, and then hit the trail back.
With the sun beginning to set and the clouds rolling in, it was time to start our descent. We circled back around the lookout tower, took one last look at the incredible view, and then disappeared into the trees. Coasting down the rocky subalpine section, we were cautious not to pick up too much speed. The trail was still rough, and we didn't want to push our luck.
You can really get going when you let off the brakes.
I was gonna say, if I didn't have road suspension, we could be down here in 20 minutes.
Once we reconnected with the wider trail, we eased our way downhill, enjoying the breathtaking scenery as we snaked down the mountainside. As we navigated each of the switchbacks, the view continued to captivate us, even as we had to stay mindful of the approaching vehicles. After a few more turns, we broke through the tree line, marking the final leg of our descent. And minutes later, we were back where we started, wrapping up another incredible adventure.
And well, there we go. We have made it down the mountain and successfully done the lookout. As I said, we knew this was going to be an easy trail, so we weren't too worried about it, but you never know. Some of these stuff, like the trail we tried to do yesterday, got a little bit dicey, and well, unfortunately we weren't able to do it. So we'll check this one off. This is definitely one I'm looking to do in the future. Maybe even camp up there. There is a couple campsites, which would be really cool. It was just way too windy for that today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know if you guys would hit this trail. I think it's a great one, but maybe you guys have a different favorite lookout trail. With that being said, while you're down there, don't forget to go ahead and check out Flat 4 Off-Road as always, and check out the channel memberships for some exclusive perks. And I will be seeing you guys in our next adventure, where we have one more day of BC travels.